our next guest, inductee. The presenter will be David James, head wrestling coach, University of Central Oklahoma, and he will speak about Terry Allen.
Robert, thank you. Appreciate you inviting me to such a great event. Also want to say congratulations to all the honorees and their families. What a great honor. What a great honor for you. I certainly want to say that it's a special honor for me to be able to introduce Coach Alley today and say a few things about Coach. Before I do that, I think I would be remiss. I've known the Alley family for a long time, and I would certainly want to have this opportunity to tell you how much I appreciate and cherish your friendship. And I'm lucky to know you. You guys let me hang around, come down here a lot and do a lot of things with you and your family. But this is a great honor for me today to be able to come and present to Coach Alley. The thing about it, Coach Alley called me on the phone and told me some details about this event. And if most of you know Coach, he's kind of not a quiet guy, don't bring attention to himself. And the last thing he asked me, he said, "Hey, would you be my presenter?" And Coach, I just want to tell you, I'm humbled and very grateful to you to do that. But try to think of some things to talk about. And I think the biggest thing about Coach Alley that comes to mind is he's a family man. He's a good guy, he's a great guy, he's a class act. Quiet, some of the Alleys might argue if he's quiet. I find him to be quiet, but he's right to the point. He's a straight shooter, and he's helped our program out tremendously on the people that he has sent to our program. He's a successful coach, a great coach. He's had a great coaching career, 36 years. That alone is something, 36 years of coaching. He's coached numerous state placers, I think 20 coached state champions. And I also coached a state championship team. I know they're hard to get. Any championship team, anything championship's hard. And I would probably say this, and I think there's some of your former wrestlers in here would probably say this to you, Coach. Thanks for caring. Thanks for making an impact on so many. Thanks for helping young people achieve dreams. Thanks for your dedication and your service to wrestling. Thanks for being a difference maker, and you're a coach, you're a difference maker. Personally, I want to thank you again. The wrestlers that I've known you over this time, you knew something. You sent us some great wrestlers. Wrestlers that Terry coached in high school. We've had 14 All-American honors, 4 national champions, and 3 Hall of Famers. And as just mentioned a while ago, the NCAA Division II Wrestler of the Year, Mr. Chris Watson. So, Coach, thank you for sending those guys to us. And not only were they great wrestlers and had success, they're great guys. And I know, again, that was because of you. I believe one of your wrestlers said this, you're the ultimate coach. And I agree with that. That being said, it was great pleasure and honor to introduce Coach Terry Allen.
Thank you, David. As we said, we've been friends for a long time, and hold it close. And I've always respected the work that he did at Central down there. And if I ever made a call to him and said, "Hey, I got a good kid you ought to look at," he never questioned me. Okay, great, let's talk to him, get him down there. And I think you can talk to any one of those kids that's gone down there and wrestled at Central with him. There's not a one of them that's regretted that decision. It's been a great place to go. It's been a great friendship, and I've been blessed to have you to work with over the years too. One thing I was a little upset with, I thought maybe this would be one time I would get to go before my brother. But didn't work out. Since it went alphabetically, I thought maybe they'd go by age or something. But anyway, we, Larry and I have gone through a lot in wrestling over the years, and what Chanel and D'Ambra talked about, that one, he used to do that to me. I'd go question his call, and I'd never get to the table. I'd be about 3 steps from the table, and he'd go, "That's one." And I'd just kind of nod my head, go back and sit down, because I knew he wasn't going to change his mind. And so it would have looked bad if I'd have gone up there and argued and lost. So I just accepted the fact and went and sat down. But, he always did a good job out there on the mat, and I was always proud to tell everyone that was my brother. I always told my team, whenever I saw that he was refereeing a tournament or if he had one of our duels, I said, "You guys better wrestle like you're 2 points behind all the time. Because if there's a close call, you're not going to get it." And I told Larry that once, and he said, "Good, that's good information. Maybe they'll win." So anyway, it was a pleasure to work with him, and as he mentioned, it's a real honor to be inducted into the Hall of Fame with him in the same year. There's a lot of people in this room that, I'd like to thank, and I, over the last couple of days trying to jot down, and you saw me pull my notes out. I have a blank paper in my pocket. But I've written pages over the last couple of days of things I wanted to say, people I wanted to thank, and, it just didn't stop. There's just too many of you. And, we think of this sport as an individual sport. A lot of people do. Wrestling's an individual sport, and we even preach that as coaches sometimes. Boy, you're going out on the mat, and you're going to do this on your own. There's no one else to take the blame and everything else. But, when you look around this room tonight, and you think, as a coach, I think of the kids that wrestled for me and their families, there was nothing individual about it. They may have walked out there by themselves, but they had a whole gymnasium of people behind them. And, that's one of the things that I really enjoyed about the sport of wrestling, not just their families, but their teammates. They weren't worried about who was the high point man or, who threw the ball to who. They were out there on the edge of the mat screaming for you to pin the guy. And it didn't matter who it was out there. They were for their teammates. And so, yeah, you are out there by yourself, but it's not individual. It's a team thing. And, I always loved that about the sport. As Larry said, there's a lot of people that have helped you over the years, with officiating. And I hate to even mention any because I'll leave some out, but there's some individuals that have really helped me over the years in my coaching. And obviously, and one of them here tonight is my high school coach, Dwayne Miller. I was really blessed that he came into Douglas when I was a junior in high school. We found out what wrestling practice was really about that first year. Sometimes we didn't always appreciate him coming in that first year. But, he turned us into some wrestlers. He taught us technique, and my previous coaches had taught technique. But Dwayne taught us how to win. And, we had some good teams in those 2 years there before Capon drew him away from down in Douglas. And then you guys know the rest of the story there. I mean, he had a heck of a career at Capon for all those years. And I was also honored my first year in coaching when I was student teaching that he was nice enough to let me come to Capon and work with him. So it gave me a little more instruction. I got to watch him firsthand from the other side of it as a coach. And, that helped me throughout the years. If I ever needed had a question or anything, I knew I could ask him and get good advice. And, it's good to see him here again tonight. And I've always felt blessed to have had him in my life as a coach and as a friend. But as a coach, you also realize, you can ask probably any one of these coaches in here, when you have a good team, it's not just you coaching. There are men and women behind the scenes that most people don't even know what they're doing that have helped build your program. And early on, when I started out at Andover, I had a man that most of you will know. He was inducted here in 2004 also, Tony Bonds, moved to Andover in the early 80s. I got him away from Capon. So, but he moved to Andover, and his youngest son, Gary, was, I think, in middle school at that time. But Tony gave me some vision, you know, as far as what we have to do to build a program. I mean, I had some good wrestlers, but we were still struggling as a team, you know, and getting the numbers out. And, you know, he told me one time, and it's always stuck with me, he says, you know, you're satisfied with just finding those tough kids, and you're taking what's left over. He said, go find the quarterback. And he didn't necessarily mean go get the quarterback off the football team, even though we tried. But, you know, he said, go after the good kids. Don't be satisfied with taking those, just whoever's, you know, not out for another sport. Go find those good kids. Get the quarterback. He said, you get those quality kids, the others will follow. And so we changed that direction, and he helped me with it. He started putting out brochures and the media guides, and you know, our numbers grew, and we started getting good kids, you know, and they were good individuals. And, you know, I've kind of carried that with me throughout my career. And, you know, Tony, you knew where you stood with Tony. There were days that, you know, Tony and I didn't see eye to eye. And if you knew Tony, you knew that was the way it was going to be sometimes. You could probably ask any one of his boys. I'm sure they'd been in that situation with him. But you also knew that whatever he was telling you was coming from his heart. And, you know, he helped me a bunch through the early 80s and build that wrestling program at Andover High. And I've had people all the way through, you know, at Augusta, you know, there were people there, and some of them are here tonight. You know, the Silvases. Dwayne ran the kids club there and worked with those kids and did a great job with them. Greg Boucher worked in the kids club there, and again, they had a vision for what they wanted in that program. And you know, we made some changes, and you know, I had 12 great years there and loved it there. And then after my retirement, I decided to go back to Andover again. I had the opportunity to go back into Andover Central at the other school and finish up my career there in those last 4 years. And I, you know, just so happened, you know, I had another guy show up, and it was Dean Watson. And you talk about a guy with vision. Dean's got vision. You know, he knew what he wanted. You know, he knew what needed to be happening in that program to get it going. And it was a good program when I got there. But, you know, we talked about, you know, a lot of different things, and I remember, you know, we got a slogan one time, and we put in a Jaguar style slogan, and I thought, well, just kind of a catchy phrase. And I remember Dean, he may not remember this, but I remember him asking me after it came up that, and I put it on a shirt, and he goes, well, what's that mean? I hadn't really thought of it, you know. I thought it was just kind of a catchy phrase. And, you know, but he asked me, you know, what's that mean? And so I started thinking about it right there. And basically what it meant and what I tried to instill in the kids at that time after throwing that out there was it meant do the right thing. It didn't matter whether it's talking about wrestling, in the classroom, with your family, or anything else. You know, Jaguar style meant you're going to be a wrestler, you know, just do the right thing. You know when you should be at practice. You know when you should be doing your schoolwork. And, you know, he helped me just with that one little question start to think. And so I've always been blessed with individuals like that have been in the program, and there's been many others. My administrators I've had have been very supportive of the program and helped, you know, if I needed something, they helped us get it, found a way. But, you know, in closing, I had and there's a couple old Emporia State guys here. I wrestled 1 year at Emporia State before they dropped the program, and when I was doing my student teaching, I had a supervising teacher named Hank Hetwer, and he was the offensive coordinator on the football team, but he was an old wrestling coach, and he was my supervising teacher and gave me some advice as I was going out to student teach. And then as I got my first coaching job, he said, I want to leave you with two things. He said, one, they're going to hire you as a teacher. They're going to want the best teacher in the world. You need to be a good teacher. He said, they're going to fire you as a coach. He said, remember that. He said, but probably the most important thing, he said, you'll never win a Kentucky Derby riding a jackass. And always remember that. And, you know, regardless of what that team, what's out there, you know, you got to go get that good guy. Go get that quarterback. You've got to have athletes. You guys, for 36 years as a head coach, I have been blessed with a bunch of thoroughbreds. You know, Coach James talks about those kids, and I've had others that could have gone on and wrestled in college or just chose to take a different direction. I was blessed with a bunch of thoroughbreds. You got kids like Chris, and, you know, the national champion there. Sean Silvas was here, that was a multiple national champion down there, and others that have gone on. The Halls are here tonight. Their sons went wrestled for coach. Those kids made you a good coach. You know, you just pointed them out in the middle of the mat, and you know, they took over, and you just hope you just steered them in the right direction. But as Larry said, I just want to thank everyone. I'd like to thank all of you. You guys are family. You know, I recognize a lot of faces, you know, in there, and most of your names, but I've seen it at the matches and tournaments, and, you know, you may have yelled with me or against me, but you know, right now it's family. And I have been blessed to be a part of the sport for virtually all my life. And the greatest sport there is, in my opinion. It teaches kids life. And, you know, I just want to, again, say thank you to the selection committee. Thank you to all the coaches that I've had the opportunity of working with, the officials most of the time. And most of them, maybe that one, all the time, but most of them. What are you laughing for, Wayne? But, you know, it's been a great ride. And thank you very much.
To the right, please, so that we can get a photo of Heather. Coach. Thank you, Heather. Coach James will do the honors and present the jacket and give Heather that plaque. We do have boxes for you guys to take those back in. They don't get damaged. They're sitting over here. Thank you. Making a presentation of the honorary induction jacket, Coach David James, University of Central Oklahoma. Mr. Terry Allen.
Never have two coaches try to dress each other.
Probably should have had your wife. There we go. Get a photo of you guys, please. Stand over by Heather. Thank you. Good to be back.